Welcome to TRS Clips, India's fastest learning portal. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit that bell icon. Okay, quick heart to heart in this one. The YouTuber life is not easy. I'm not saying that it's the most difficult career. In fact, it's a very rewarding career. I've spoken about all the rewards repeatedly. I've done YouTube for so long now. I've done it for 6 years. And I've done it for so long now that it's become a second nature to me. My whole life is lived in terms of what's my next script, when's my next upload, what's my next content piece, what's that thumbnail going to look like, oh, that video that's being prepared, how else can we shoot it, what kind of lighting can we use, how can we improve our work. My life is YouTube, because every single year spent on social media or on YouTube is equal to 3 years spent in every other industry, both according to your growth and according to the money you make and according to the fame you receive or the recognition you receive. 1 year spent on social media is equal to 3 years spent in other industries. This is something I learned from Nikhil Sharma, Mumbaiker Nikhil, one of the country's OG YouTubers. Some people consider me one of the country's OG YouTubers for some reason. Never ever thought that I would be a YouTuber while I was growing up. I've heard that it's become one of the cool things for kids to say. When I was growing up, the cool thing to say was, hey, I want to be a cricketer. I want to be an astronaut. I want to be a scientist maybe. Actually, no, scientist, not really. No, I'm kidding. But it used to be cool to be able to say, I'm going to be an astronaut or I'm going to be an athlete. It wasn't ever an option to call yourself a potential YouTuber, and now it is. I've spoken earlier about how YouTube eventually leads to one of two things. It leads to a career in films as an actor or a director, creator, writer, etc., or it leads to a career in some sort of business. It could be a service-based business like Monk Entertainment. It could be a product-based business like Yuthiapa. It could be a product-based business like the business Aman Dhattarwal runs. It's an education-based business, edtech of sorts. Unacademy began in YouTube. You always end up in business or in the world of creation of films. Lots of people look at YouTube as a stepping stone. I don't think it's a stepping stone. I think it's a very giving platform. There is this third career called long-term YouTubing, which very few people will embrace, because after a point, one, it gets difficult to keep coming up with ideas. Two, people say that the algorithm always prefers fresher creators. So if the algorithm builds up one particular creator in one genre, once that creator is established, the rumor says that the algorithm will build up a second creator, just so that there's competition for the first creator. And this is a pattern that a lot of YouTubers claim to have seen repeatedly. I don't know. I'm not so sure, but lots of people say that this happens. That if one person is pumped by the algorithm, very soon the algorithm will pump a second person to ensure that there isn't one single monopoly. That's why on any YouTube channel, you'll have suggested channels, or under a video of a particular channel, you'll have suggested videos of a rival channel. It's just how the nature of YouTube is. So what's the effect that it has on the creator? Let me reassure you guys that this is a very giving career. If you play the game right, if you know what you're doing on YouTube, if you put in your heart and soul into the process, and if you enjoy the process, you will get the rewards, and those rewards will be greater than you would have ever expected. But there is a flip side to it. Okay? People know about what creator burnout is. Oh, I'm just out of creativity. Oh, I've lost my relevance. Oh, people don't relate to me anymore. Oh, I don't know what to make next. Oh, I don't know how to pivot my content. You hear lots of old school creators saying this. You hear people who've been on the platform say this for a while. And I'm also going to give you the perspective of someone who wants to be on YouTube for at least another 5 to 10 years. That's me. I want to be on YouTube for another 5 to 10 years, irrespective of the podcasts we create, the businesses we create. I enjoy YouTubing. I love creating videos. I love learning, allowing it to marinate in my head, and then putting it out through beautiful video content and, gain an audience along with putting out this beautiful content. Here's 5 dark aspects of YouTube from my own journey. Dark aspect number 1, it's a never-ending game. That rush from 0 to 1 million subscribers is what most people aim for, even today. And it is a rush getting there. When you're at 600K and 700K and 900K subs, you're pumped about getting there. You hit 1 million, you get emotional, you feel happy, you think your life is made, and then post 1 million, you're left with a little bit of emptiness. At least it used to be 1 million subs in my day. It's probably 5 million or 10 million now. If you have a number in your head when you're beginning YouTube, I kind of think that might be a mistake, because Once you cross that number, which you definitely will if you're passionate about YouTube, you will feel empty after you're past that point. After you pass that point, you kind of don't make content for the numbers. You don't make content for the success. You make content for your own heart, for the child inside you that enjoyed YouTube once upon a time, who dreamt of being a YouTuber. That's what you make content for. That's the biggest reason we went into podcasts, because I was like, yo, I want to create content that I'd like to consume. I want to create content that I'd like to create, not content that just my audience would like. And if my audience doesn't like a particular piece of content, I'll do it repeatedly in order to gain an even newer audience, or in order to show this audience this beautiful new kind of content that I'm creating. My point is that it's sort of an empty game, all right? Even if you pass certain personal milestones. Another aspect of it being an empty game, and we're still at point number 1, another aspect of it being an empty game is that you are your last piece of content. No YouTuber will only create content on YouTube. You'll either also create content on LinkedIn or Instagram or Twitter or Clubhouse for that matter. And depending on your performance and your last piece of content, you kind of start attaching your self-worth to it. And this is a vicious cycle, trust me, because if you put out a video that has been received well, it's got great views, you enjoyed doing it, you start flying a little bit. And if you put out a piece of content that you thought will do really well, and then it bombs, it tanks, it gets criticism, it gets cancelled almost, then sometimes you start associating your self-worth with that. Cancel culture is a big part of our lives right now. I have some young creators who call me and say, hey man, I just got cancelled on Twitter. What do I do? My response to them is chill. You are your last piece of content. If people are cancelling you today, 1, they're not even your audience. 2, your audience would never cancel you. 3, the moment you make your next good piece of content, people will forget about that whole cancelling phenomenon that happened to you on Sunday. You're being cancelled on Sunday, and by Tuesday, you're a king or a queen again. Strange life. And that's why I say it's empty. It's f***ing empty. You don't even know what you're doing after a point. You're just on autopilot. I don't know where 6 years of my life have gone by. I look back at my life and I'm like, it feels like last week that Raja started working with me and we were making fitness content and we were figuring how to make fitness content more entertaining. We thought, oh, let's put titles in our videos. That'll make it more entertaining. Just feels like last week. I don't know where these 6 years have gone by. Because it's a weird kind of empty game. It's very fulfilling and empty at the same time. I can't explain it. 6 years have flown by. Things got really good for me probably 6 months to a year ago, when I realized that, damn, I'm doing so many things. I'm running businesses, I'm running YouTube channels. I cannot keep associating my self-worth with how my videos perform, how many views they get. And once I started doing that, we started getting even more views, just by the way. Why? Because I started creating videos that I was enjoying creating. I enjoyed the editing process. I was having fun making those. If you're having fun creating a video, people have fun viewing it. And if you're not having fun on your YouTube journey, it's either time to stop or it's time to reinvent. YouTube teaches you a lot for life. You'll get a very high paying job in another industry doing something else because of the skills you've learned from YouTube. Apply it in business. Challenge yourself in other ways if you're done with YouTube. I still have that little kid inside me who's excited about telling stories and sharing my learnings. I'm not going to stop.